controversial, the highly important topic. Krishna. In their natural flavor, one needs to understand the position of the Lord. Our position in relationship with the Lord and the qualities of the Lord. And then comes the platform of starting to understand and appreciate or making sense of the pastimes of the Lord. So many times people say that, okay, Krishna did because Krishna did Rasa. The simple straight one line answer to this is that yes, Krishna did Rasa dance with the girls or with the gopis, but first Krishna gave the Govardhan lifting test actually. So Krishna lifted Govardhan with the little finger of his left hand. So if that test one can clear, what to say of lifting a mountain, if one can even lift an almirah, at least an almirah lifting test should be there before one can claim to imitate on the footsteps of the Lord. It's just like an illiterate person looking at a car may get impressed by the model, color, texture of the car and so on. But if a mechanical engineer is looking at a car, then he will not just see the car, the external, the finishing, the seat covers. To him what will be visible is the engine, the horsepower, the capacity of the engine, the kind of the tires, the mileage, and what other extra space is there, how big will be the engine, how much fuel tank will be there, what is the position of the fuel tank and so on. So that means that to be able to understand a car in its true sense, it requires one to have the engineering eyes. Similarly, to understand the pastimes of the Lord, it requires one to have a deeper vision. It requires one to have an elevated vision. That's the point which we have to understand. Just imagine we happen to land up in a park and we see that on the side of the lake a boy and a girl are sitting. A young boy and a young girl, a handsome boy, a beautiful girl. Evening hours, early evening. What is the immediate thought which crosses by? What is the immediate thought which may cross by? Or we may see a boy and girl sitting in a restaurant, face to face, facing each other, or any other such place like that. So now, the immediate thought which may cross by is maybe probably both of them are boyfriend, girlfriend, they are flirting around. But we can never be sure, they can be brothers and sisters. Discussing about some family affairs. So now the point is that there is, when we look at the reality around us, there is a perception bias. There is a perception bias. It is based on, so we can understand that what do we see is based on what is the state and the quality of our heart. And that becomes like a spectacle, and that is the spectacle with which we see. Because the state and quality of our heart is like the coloring. It's like the colored lens. Now if you are wearing a red lens, then anywhere you look around, it looks reddish. So the reality is not reddish. The reality is not reddish. But it is the contamination and the coloring with which one has associated himself and through which one is seeing, and therefore everything appears to be taking a reddish flavor. So that means that the state of the heart is very important to work at if we want to understand the reality of this world. Srila Prabhupada gives a very simple example to explain this. Srila Prabhupada explains, just like, suppose a young girl is there. She may be beautiful. Let us assume, okay, a beautiful young girl is there. Now let's try to see, when different people look at her, what do they feel? The feeling is not going to be the same. The feeling depends on the vision with which people are looking at. Now suppose a small child, a 5-year-old child is looking at this young girl. When he looks at the young girl, he will feel mother is there. So he will see mother in this girl. Now, when her father is looking at her, he will see, he's my, the apple of my eye, my heart, my beloved daughter. That's what he will see. If a businessman looks at her, he will see, okay, this girl means, 1,000 rupees, I will sell out some product to her. So it means, so looking at the girl, he'll see bank balance, is it not? When a lusty man looks at that girl, he will see object of lust and sense satiation. He will see it from a sensual perspective. When a tiger looks at the girl, the tiger will say lunchbox. Today's lunchbox has come, like that. So basically, what consciousness one has is explained to us. If my consciousness is dirty, then I am going to that dirt. Therefore, a greedy man feels the whole world is greedy. And a lusty man will feel that the whole world is lusty. A lusty man will feel that the whole world is lusty. What is the proof of this? The proof of this is in terms of many modern day so-called theories. Like, for example, there is a theory, or there is a postulate that yes, this whole world is running. I mean, everywhere in this world there is nothing else other than the sex drive. Any action, any thought, any relationship, the sex drive is the basic underlying governing driving principle. Freud's theory, Sigmund Freud. So now we can try to understand that it's not that there is no sex drive and sex appeal everywhere. So people asked a question to Freud that what about the love which a child feels for his mother? He said no, that is also based on sex drive. At least I cannot take up that answer, and I believe any of you would not be able to take it up. So the point is, now this animalistic vision or this animalistic presentation of the entire world is shooting out exactly from the contamination within the heart. Therefore, you will see in the on the level of the society also, because modern day the focus on qualities and character has got diminished, and the training has got diminished, and that way a person has got the license to flare up his base animalistic carnal tendencies. So you will see that because people they are able to openly fuel these anarthas, say for example lust. Therefore you will see people have gone so animalistic, that they are able to see even a small child as an object of lust. We see with the in the present decades how child abuse cases have increased so much, and what to say, and not only girl child, a boy child also. So what is even more further, when they feel sexually agitated, or they feel a sexual drive for even an animal called so the point is that and people use so many kind of mechanized toys, to be able to fulfill their the sensual desires. You see the whole point. The whole world is appearing to be lust. How it contaminates one's complete vision. So the enemy is sitting in the heart. That enemy has to be removed. That is what is contaminating the person. So similarly, we can try to understand that yes, in this way we can see all around there is this proof of what the Shastras are saying. The Shastras are saying the world is a reflection of one's consciousness. If we are seeing dirt in the world around, there is dirt in us, and this dirt in us has to be removed. This is the exact point. This dirt in us has to be removed. So this dirt in us has to be removed. So that is why when a person with this contaminated vision, when people look at Lord, then people see the pure and most elevated relationship of Lord Krishna with the gopis to be a mundane boyfriend-girlfriend affair. That is the point. So therefore one has to understand first the position of Krishna before venturing into the pastimes of the Lord. Who is Krishna? That has to be understood. That is the first point. Who is Krishna? That has to be understood. Whom are you talking to, or whom are we talking about? Who is that person? What is his nature? What is his character? Who are we in relationship to him? And then we can try to understand and make sense of what is happening. No. It's just like, so the first principle is that the Supreme Lord is Janmadhyasya Yataha. Everything has originated from the Supreme Lord. He is the root of the entire creation. The Supreme Lord is eternal. He has a transcendental body. His body is not like ours. His body is not like ours. He has a transcendental body. Just like it is not very easy for a human being, say, to be attracted to an insect, who has a life of one night, overnight, to a moth, to a bat, to a rat, to a cat. So obviously, unless one has stimulated himself so much with garbage that his vision, nothing but garbage is shooting out, it is not very easy. Similarly, the Lord's body is transcendental, the Lord's body is spiritual, and all the living entities in this world having all material bodies, that material body is such a perishable, transient body. How can the Lord be attracted to that? So Krishna is described in the Shastras and the Acharyas as Shuddham. That means he is the most purifying. Krishna is like the sun. What to say of Krishna being lusty? Even the most lusty person, when he comes in contact with Krishna, he forgets lust. That is the nature of the Lord. That is the nature of the Lord. And we can see innumerable pastimes of the Lord explaining this or highlighting this fact. We can see innumerable incarnations of the Lord highlighting these facts. So say for example in his incarnation as Nara and Rishis. So more popularly known as Lord Badri Vishal or Lord Badrinath. So up there in the Himalayas, the Lord was sitting. The Lord wanted to set an example of renunciation. What is renunciation like? And therefore the Lord took the form of Narayan, and his dear devotee Arjuna, he took the form, or he came. So this was the incarnation. This was, the Arjuna, the devotee of the Lord, he came as Nara. So therefore the two rishis, the Nar and Narayan. And Lord Narayan is Krishna himself in his avatar of renunciation. And the Lord wanted to show, what does renunciation mean and what does renunciation look like. And therefore the Lord was sitting in the Himalayas and the Lord was performing tapasya. The Lord was performing such a severe tapasya. He was his practice was so severe and intense that that the news of that reached Swarga, and thus Indra he got restless and agitated. So Indra came in insecurity. That was the level. So Lord's tapasya was so intense and pure. Indra became restless because Maharaj Indra started thinking that Lord, this sage is doing tapasya to get my post. Because if you do tapasya, then you can get the post of Indra. And Indra started doing his calculations. Okay, what was my resume, after how much yagyas I got, and this sage is, it seems that he is competing with me. He is trying to pose as my competitor. And I am going to spoil his show. That's what Indra thought. And therefore, Indra arranged. Maharaj Indra called for the best of his apsaras. And he said, go and entice him, spoil his tapasya. So the best of his apsaras, her name was Rambha. So now, when Lord Narayan was performing tapasya under the tree, in the Himalayas, and she started showing all feminine gestures and feminine dances and feminine gait and voice and song and dance and so on. Very alluring, very enticing. And because she was accompanied by, she was on official demigod mission, or she was an official Maharaj Indra mission, even the atmosphere was arranged in such a way, the whole setting, the whole ambience was arranged in such a way that the sensual provocation was most acute and intense at that point of time. And she was doing all her gestures, she continued doing, the Lord did not even open his eyes. Obviously, the Lord was knowing what is happening. The Lord did not even open his eyes. So she was continuing all her feminine enticing gestures, and she might have got tired. And soon she realized that nothing is going to work out. And soon she felt a bit embarrassed after getting tired with all her trials and appeals. All her attempts. And then the Lord opened his eyes. And when the Lord opened his eyes, she was seeking forgiveness. Because she couldn't even, so she could not agitate the Lord. Who can agitate the Supreme Lord? She was seeking forgiveness. She realized her mistake. Because she had failed thoroughly. And she was embarrassed. And Lord Narayan, he spoke, he said, I know, Indra has sent you. So it's not your fault, don't worry. And then the Lord looked at his thighs. When the Lord looked at his thighs, many beautiful damsels came out from Lord's thighs. Not one, many of them. All of them were young. They were masterpiece in feminine beauty. In fact, Rambha was looking the ugliest of the entire lot, and hundreds of damsels came, and their feminine gestures, their expertise in singing, dancing, everything. And the whole atmosphere was filled with these damsels, and Rambha was feeling like an ugly cockroach. And she was so embarrassed. And she really realized the intensity of the folly. And then the Lord looked at her, the Lord told her that, my dear child, you can choose one of them and take her with you as my gift to Maharaj Indra. So she chose the best among them. The best among them, her name was Urvashi. And that's how, and all the other damsels who were there, hundreds of them, again disappeared into the Lord's thighs. And the Lord again went back into his meditation. And Rambha, she had learned the lesson of her life. Rambha, she brought Urvashi. When she brought Urvashi, and when Maharaj Indra heard the whole story, Maharaj Indra felt so embarrassed that what did he do? He realized his mistake, but he was very happy to receive the gift. So this is the point. Can the Lord be provoked by lust? This episode Lord Narayan is showing. When Rambha was trying to show all her feminine gesture, the Lord could show that I can produce better beauties than you. And Rambha felt like a cockroach. So Rambha felt so ugly. That is the Supreme Lord. How can the Supreme Lord be lusty? How can the Supreme Lord be lusty? In the pastimes of Lord Krishna, there is this episode of Kubja. So Kubja was this hunchbacked old lady, and she had Chandan, and she was going to the palace to apply Chandan to Kamsa, the king, who had asked for it. And in between, Krishna and Balaram crossed her way. And Krishna and Balaram are two beautiful, so charming, and so effulgent young boys. And Lord Krishna taunted her, a beautiful lady. She was hunchback, old lady. She was not able to walk. She was hunchback, kubdi. And the Lord told, why don't you smear this chandan on us? Anyhow, she felt attracted toward Lord Krishna and Balaram. So she took chandan. She knew that she is applying this chandan is meant for Kamsa. If Kamsa gets to know, she will be beheaded. Because Kamsa was not a forgiving personality. So Kubja, knowing all that, she applied that chandan to the forehead of Krishna and Balaram. And Lord Krishna became pleased. Lord Krishna was so pleased with Kubja's surrender and Sharnagati. So the Lord put his feet on Kubja's feet, and the Lord took her chin and gave him a jerk, and in that way lifted up. All of a sudden, Kubja, the hunchback, ugly old woman, got transformed into a very beautiful young girl with such charming beauty. It was a scene of all scenes. Now she was a youthful, young, beautiful girl. Her beauty had no comparison. Anyhow, when this happened, Kubja was not able to believe what happened to her. This is what Krishna did to her. And when she saw that, she became obsessed with her own beauty. And thinking like this, now she was so young, and Krishna was young. So becoming obsessed, she was grateful to Krishna, but then becoming obsessed with her own beauty, she felt lusty toward Lord Krishna, and therefore she invited Lord Krishna to her home. She said, please come to my home. And she thought that she will, so she felt lusty towards Lord Krishna. She invited Lord Krishna to her home. Anyhow, Lord Krishna went. When Lord Krishna went, She made Lord Krishna sit down. Immediately she took the lotus feet of the Lord and pressed the feet of the Lord against her breast. As soon as that happened, when the Lord's lotus feet touched her breast, Kubja's lust got evaporated. She forgot everything, I body, this body, that body. She immediately folded her hands, offered obeisances, became a great devotee of the Lord. This is what the touch of Krishna can give. The touch of the Lord can shatter all these can shatter all the mountains and mountains of contaminations, the contaminations of lust. What to say of lust? All anarthas. All anarthas. That is what the touch of the Lord can do. So what to say of the touch of the Lord? Even the holy name of the Lord, just the name of the Lord is sufficient to be able to evaporate all kinds of lusty tendencies. Just the holy name of the Lord is sufficient actually. Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur, Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur is a great acharya in our sampradaya. So before he took to active devotional service, he was a very amorous kind of a person, and he was very attached to a prostitute and used to go to her house. One day it was raining heavily, he had to, and there was no way by which he could have gone. It was thunder, storming, hailing, the river was flooded, he had to cross the river, didn't got a boatman, he swam, he was bleeding, he was wounded, her door was locked, it was all wind and thunder and storm. He somehow or the other climbed the wall and broke open the window and then went in. The prostitute's name was Chintamani. So he went in, Chintamani got the shock of her life, and he came, he had come to enjoy like that. That was his feeling. Bilva Mangal Thakur. That time Chintamani said a word to him. Chintamani said, "Arey, if this much endeavor and this much desperation you show towards Krishna, you will go back to Godhead, you will attain. This whole material world will be crossed for you. This much desperation." Immediately that struck like a thunderbolt on him. He took an about turn. The way he came, the way he went back. Bilva Mangal Thakur, and he went straight to Vrindavan, chanting the holy names of the Lord, and he became such a great acharya. He forgot what to say of he became such a great acharya. It is explained that Bilva Mangal Thakur, obviously Bilva Mangal Thakur, out of repentance that he was so lusty, later he took off his eyes. He plugged his eyes because he felt that his eyes had been so lusty. He plugged off his eyes. But it is explained that Bilva Mangal Thakur would be going around in Vrindavan, and he would be so absorbed in chanting the names of the Lord. Bilva Mangal Thakur would not even ask anyone for food. He would be just absorbed in chanting and chanting and chanting Krishna's names. He would not even ask for food to anyone. He was such a pure soul. Anybody would be ready to help him, but he would not approach anyone. He was ajagar vritti. He would just be chanting the holy names of the Lord, and he would be just absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord. And it was to that extent he was leading his life in this way. Krishna used to personally come and offer him milk. This was the stature which he came to, and that is all because the holy name of the Lord. In Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, there is the pastime of Srila Haridas Thakur. Now when Haridas Thakur was sitting, an envious person had sent a prostitute to Haridas Thakur. In the dead of the night, she had come, and she came, she said, "Oh Thakur," now with all her whatever feminine, and she said, "Thakur, you are a saint, you are a saintly person, you are compassionate, you should not say no to me, be merciful to me, satisfy me." Haridas Thakur used to chant 22 hours a day. That was his level of devotion, the holy name. So Srila Haridas Thakur looked at her with compassion. He said, "I am ready to satisfy whatever you say, I am ready to, but my rounds are not finished. So you please sit down in a corner and wait till my rounds get finished." So she didn't knew Haridas Thakur, how many rounds were remaining. She thought, okay, half an hour, 1 hour. No. Haridas Thakur started chanting, he got lost, immersed. And this lady, she was waiting, like that. So Haridas Thakur place, the internet was also not coming, because that is Haridas Thakur's kutir, only the holy name is present. There was no internet, Wi-Fi connectivity also, she couldn't do anything. So she had nothing to do, so she was just hearing the holy name. And Haridas Thakur would chant 22 hours, that means till next day morning, Bhora, he continued chanting. And this lady waiting, she realized it is morning. And she said, what is this, Thakur, what you did? Haridas Thakur said, my rounds just got over, like that. Now I will start today's quota, like that. That was just yesterday's quota, like that. So she felt the whole night you got nothing happened. So she said, okay, I'll come today. Today you satisfy me. Night to night I'll come. And Haridas Thakur said, okay, no problem. So the second day she came. Haridas Thakur had the same answer. He said, my rounds are not complete. Haridas Thakur's rounds would never complete. That was his attraction for the holy name. 22 hours he would chant every day. So the next day, this lady, she had come and she had nothing else. She was hearing Haridas Thakur's chanting. The next day, she became a bit interested in hearing. And she was hearing more attentively. And as the night progressed, she started repeating also. Anyhow, she felt a little bad. That whole night also passed away. And she came to Thakur in the morning. She said, what is this? Haridas Thakur said, what can I do? My round just got complete. Now I will start today's quota. She said, okay, tonight you should please, enough, He said, okay, tonight. So the night came, but Haridas Thakur's rounds were still not complete. Because they will never complete. That was the point. So the third night she was chanting so actively. She continued chanting. Third night, whole night she was chanting. By morning, she was completely purified. She just offered obeisances to Srila Haridas Thakur. She explained that how she was sent on a wrong mission. And she begged forgiveness. And Srila Haridas Thakur, he said, I knew that. That Qazi had sent because of envious attitude. But just to help you, I was staying here. Haridas Thakur said, I am leaving this kutir. She said, no. So she bowed down to him. She offered obeisances. She said, please give me initiation. Please give me diksha. I was leading such a sinful life. I have realized that this sinful life is of no worth. And Srila Haridas Thakur said, I am leaving this place. If you want, you can occupy this place. Now what you do, you please go and whatever is your sinful wealth, what you have accumulated, you distribute to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And then you come here, stay here and practice Krishna consciousness. So it is explained, Haridas Thakur left, but by his mercy, that lady immediately, she offered all her wealth to the Vaishnavas and she came and started staying in that kutir. And she also started chanting 22 hours a day. That was by the mercy of Srila Haridas Thakur. The holy name of the Lord is so powerful that it can drive away any figment of lust. What to say of the Lord being lusty? So what to say of the Lord's being lusty? So Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita what is the difference between lust and love. He says, Atmendriya pritivancha tare bali kam, Krishnendriya pritivancha dhari premanam. When one wants to satisfy his own senses, that is called as lust. But when one wants to serve Krishna, that is called as prem. Krishna had brought barter, some rice, but all the grains had fallen from his hands. And only a few handful were remaining. And Krishna was telling, I want all your fruits. And this is the price for it. And she saw that the price was nothing but the few grains of rice which was in Krishna's small hands. But she felt so much love for Krishna. She gave all her fruits without any expectation. This is called as love, no expectation. This is called as love for Krishna. So it is explained that the difference between lust and love is the difference between iron and gold. No. That is the difference between iron and gold. That's the difference between lust and love. So anyhow, if we talk about chronology of events, actually, the Rasa Leela was performed, and Krishna and the gopis were 8 years old. 8 years, there is no sensual feeling also. It is explained the gopis were there in their transcendental spiritual bodies. No, for many of them, their physical bodies would be in their homes, and they were there in that transcendental physical body, transcendental spiritual bodies, actually. In that body, the Rasa Leela was performed. So that is that's the point. The other aspect is what? Now we are saying iron and gold. You see, now what is the test? Now, how do we understand? Now, what is the property of the gold? You see, the iron. If you scrub iron pieces, there are sparks. The scrub iron pieces. That is lust, actually. Two people come together with that iron consciousness, and then there are sparks because the consciousness is bodily, sensual, animalistic, and so on. And the consciousness is like gold, the more you scrub, the more it shines, actually, like that. That's the point. So we see the proof of the gopis' purity. We can see Lord Krishna, when he was 10.5 years old, he left Vrindavan. At 10.5, he left Vrindavan for Mathura. And the Lord, for a century, he didn't came back. A century years, he didn't return. And the gopis, they were completely absorbed and immersed in separation of the Supreme Lord, in remembrance of the Supreme Lord, in remembrance of the Supreme Lord. So that is called as love. That is called as love, actually. So firstly, if we see from age point of view, from 8 to 10.5, that was only Rasa Leela period, and nobody, even mundane humans, don't become lusty at that age. That is first point. The second point is that the gopis were so devoted to Krishna. Krishna didn't even came back. Krishna was not chatting with them on Zoom or having some virtual video conferencing calls and all. The Lord was gone. They didn't hardly in the whole century they saw Krishna twice. That was the point. Twice? Once. Only at Kurukshetra. Now that is where the Rath Yatra, when they were pulling Krishna, that is where the Rath Yatra concept, the pastime of the Rath Yatra evolves, where the gopis are pulling Krishna towards Vrindavan. So Krishna never came back, but the gopis, their dedication for Krishna never diminished. This is called as love, where there is no expectation, of any result and any reciprocation. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes this consciousness by the beautiful verse, the 8th verse of Shikshashtakam. Ashtishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotuva. The Lord Chaitanya describes this consciousness as that the consciousness of the supreme-most evolution of love, in which the devotee is saying to the Lord, "O Lord, I am your surrendered servant. I am yours, completely surrendered to you. If you want, you can embrace me. If you want, you can kick me. If you want, you can smile at me. If you want, you can spit at me. If you want, you can neglect me. How long? Eternally. Eternally. I am your eternal devotee, your servant, unconditionally." This is, Lord Chaitanya explains, this is the highest expression of bhakti or love which the gopis were epitomizing. And therefore, understanding this, we have seen that the crest jewel acharyas, which we have seen in the past, who have themselves led a life, who were themselves have led a life of renunciation, of absorption, and such a role model example like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was the crest jewel of all sannyasis. They have glorified the love of Vrajavadhus, that is the gopis, as the topmost level of devotional service. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavacharya, Ramanujacharya, they have glorified the gopis love for Krishna as the topmost. And that is how we can understand the difference between lust and love. So, now let us go into pastimes and facts. With this understanding, now let us go into pastimes and facts. Many times people say that the gopis. So many times people question about Radharani or Krishna's relationship with Radharani and Krishna's relationship with the gopis. If you go through the facts, and if you go through the facts, what the Shastras and the Acharyas and the Brajavasis they have preserved through the tradition, then you can understand actually that Srimati Radharani and the gopis were all married to Krishna. It is not that they were not married to Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam describes and Acharyas explain and Acharyas present, and the Shastras are describing this pastime. So the pastime begins with this pastime or this episode begins with the Brahma Vimohan Leela. So now the gopis were having that intense desire to achieve Krishna. To attain Krishna and to attain Krishna, or to and they wanted Krishna in the relationship as a lover, and Krishna was so they were praying to Mother Katyayani, and they were desperate. They wanted Krishna as their husband. They wanted Krishna in that eternal relationship with the Lord as a conjugal lover, and that eternal relationship exists in the spiritual world. So Krishna reciprocates as per the desire of the living entity. If one wants Krishna as a son, Krishna becomes a son. If one wants Krishna as a friend, Krishna becomes a friend. If one wants to be son of Krishna, Krishna becomes the father also. So, and if one the pastime of the Brahma, and when Krishna understood what has happened, that it is all Brahmaji is doing, on all the gopas in the exact same form, mannerisms, everything. Nobody, even Balaramji, could not work out what is happening. Balaramji is the expansion of Krishna. He could not understand what Krishna was up to. How can poor people, little tiny people like us can understand? So Krishna expanded as all the gopas, and Krishna expanded as all the gopas. Now the Brajavasis, the elderly gopis and gopas, they never used to be attracted to their own sons so much as they would be attracted to Krishna. But when this year, the elderly gopas and gopis, they were feeling the same kind of attraction which they have for Krishna as their son, and even they were perplexed about this. What is this? Because they used to feel more attraction for Krishna than their own sons. Like that. Now they were feeling the same attraction which they have for Krishna in their own sons. Actually, all the elderly gopas and gopis wanted to have Krishna as their son. So Krishna fulfilled their desire in this way. So he came. He actually became each of their sons for that whole long year. And they were feeding Krishna. And they were serving Krishna. And in this way, this pastime went for the whole year. Towards the end of the year, when only 2-3 days were remaining, Balaramji understood what is happening. Towards the very end of it, the 11th hour of it. But that's where Balaramji understood that what is happening. So as soon as that happened, Then the Lord's great devotee Purnamashi, she came and she was like the advisor for all the Brajavasis. She came, she said, now is the right time, all the gopis have to be, all the young girls should get married. So all the young girls got married, and they got married to various appearances, and but in various appearances, who was there all around? That was Krishna. That was Purnamashi, knew that. And therefore Purnamashi arranged everything. All the gopis officially got married to Krishna. So that is the point. The gopis were married to Krishna. And what to say of Radharani? The Shastras explain Radharani. So I have heard at least 4 episodes where Radharani was married to Krishna. So many times. At age 4, Radharani's marriage to Krishna was performed by Brahmaji in Bhandirvan. Similarly, Lalita was married to Krishna. So this is the point. The Shastras explain this in Bhandirvan. Even today you go, you ask what is famous in Bhandirvan. Any Brajavasi will take you to that place, that vata tree, and there there is a temple. There is a Brahmaji. He married, and he conducted the marriage of Radharani and Krishna. And Radharani was married to Krishna. So many times, in this way, Radharani was married to Krishna. Like that. So this is the point, that many great acharyas would just come, perform the marriage ceremony, and in these beautiful forests of Vrindavan, they were married to Krishna actually. Now where is the third marriage? The third marriage also takes place. The second marriage is when Krishna was in the form of all the Gopas. That time everyone is officially married to Krishna. By the way, Radharani would come from Barsana to cook for Krishna. And Mother Yashoda, it was very clear in the mindset of Mother Yashoda and everyone that Radharani is the eternal consort, the eternal consort of Lord Krishna actually. And therefore she would come every day to cook for him right from childhood. That was the point. So anyhow, it is explained, the Acharyas explain that after the battle of Kurukshetra, that means after 100 long years, then the pastimes of Mathura, the world war was done, the Kurukshetra was done, Yudhishthira Maharaj established as king, then the Lord came to Dwaraka, and then it is explained that after that, and then there was, it was the time for the Yaduvamshis, all the Yadus to give up, finish off their tenure in the earthly pastimes and go into their spiritual bodies. And therefore, the scene was arranged. All the Yadus actually they left their mortal bodies, and they ascended back to the spiritual world. After that, the Lord went to Vrindavan. When the Lord went to Vrindavan, it is explained the Lord actually went back to Vrindavan. This is more than 100 years. After 100 years, the Lord went to Vrindavan. When the Lord went to Vrindavan, then there were all these beautiful pastimes, and Purnamashi actually, arranged for everyone to get married to Krishna. Again, the marriage ceremony of all the gopis was arranged with Krishna, and Krishna was performing many loving pastimes with all the Brajavasis. In that way, the Lord sent all the Brajavasis back to the spiritual world. That's how he ended their pastimes in a very loving way. So the point is that even legally, the Lord and the gopis were married to each other. That way speaking. You see, the point is the Lord fulfills the desire of everyone. So who are these gopis? There are these various sections of gopis. So one such section of gopis is called as Rishishari gopis. And their history dates back to the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. And when Lord Ramachandra came, so then Lord Ramachandra was passing the Dandakaranya. And he passes the Dandakaranya, then he saw that there were these whole group of sages, and they were all having jata, and they were all having kamandalu, and all were performing tapasya. He asked them that you can ask for any benediction. You are all my great devotees. What benediction you want? They said, "Oh Lord, we want to We want to be related with you as conjugal lovers. And the Lord explained, this life I am setting an example, what humans should follow. So this life, this incarnation, I am not is a Maryada incarnation, like that. So, but all of you are my devotees, your desire will be fulfilled. In next incarnation, I will come as Purna Purushottam Avatar, my full manifestation, and then all of you will take birth as gopis, and in that way you will be eternally connected to me. In the rasa you desire, in that rasa of Madhurya Prem, or the conjugal love actually. So now just imagine when Krishna is performing Rasa Leela, now he is performing Rasa Leela with the girls, but these are not girls, they were like these rishis. Now just imagine if Krishna is actually dancing with some rishis having big jata, like that. None of us are going to have any problem with that, but that is exactly how it is. Yes or not? Krishna just reciprocate with the desires of anyone, with the desires of every living entity. So that is the point, that therefore this relationship of the Krishna and the gopis is a relationship on a superlative note. So in fact this conjugal relationship is the topmost, deepest loving relationship which exists in the spiritual world, but there it exists in the most purest of the form. And its perverted reflection in the material world, which we call as lust, is existing. It is the cheapest and the most animalistic, like that. So but that is the perverted shadow reflection. In its pure form, that relationship is pure, so pure, because that relationship, the gopis, the nature of gopis' love, their whole existence is meant to serve Krishna. That is the point. So their whole existence is there to serve Krishna. So therefore we see this beautiful pastime where once Krishna got a headache, and Narad Muni came, he saw Krishna is having a headache. Narad Muni got disturbed. Narad Muni said, "Oh Lord, how will your headache be solved?" The Lord said, if you get the dust of the feet of my devotees, any of the devotees, my headache will get solved. Narad Muni approached everyone. Nobody was ready to give the dust of their feet, because that means you are insulting the Lord. That means you will get heavy sinful reaction. So he went to Lord Shiva, he went to Brahmaji, he went to everywhere. Nobody was ready to give the dust of their feet. Finally, Narad Muni became so tired, he went to Vrindavan and he found the gopis. And Narad Muni explained, he just touched on the point that the Krishna is having headache. And the gopis were not able to bear that. How Krishna can have headache? What is the solution? He said, Krishna, the solution is the dust of the feet has to be given. So the gopis, they told Narad Muni to bring a chadar. They started shedding off the dust of their feet. They said, take it as much as you want. How much you want, you take it. Narad Muni said, you girls, you don't understand. What does this mean? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you give the dust of your feet, you will go to hell eternally. And the gopis they spoke to Narad Muni. They said, if we can give a few moments of relief to Krishna, and for that we have to go to hell eternally, we are ready for that. But our Krishna should not even get a few moments of inconvenience and pain. And therefore, at that point of time, Narad Muni offered obeisances to all the gopis that what is this kind of love? What is this kind of Sharanagati? And therefore, Krishna, in his reciprocation or in his pastimes to the gopis, the Lord explains to the gopis that, oh gopis, your love for me is so superlative that I am finding incapable of reciprocating with your love. Your love for me is so great that I am getting helpless. I am not able to reciprocate to that degree. Therefore, please be satisfied with your love only. So you see, this is the love of the gopis. The gopis, their love is so intense, is so oceanic that Krishna feels himself incapable to reciprocate. That is the pure platform of Krishna's relationship with the gopis. That is the pure platform of Krishna's relationship with the gopis. So in fact, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, in Srimad Bhagavatam, the prayers of the gopis are explained. And it is called as Gopi Gitam. And if you read this Gopi Gitam, what to say of any such feeling of sensuality and lust. it actually purifies our feelings and purifies our heart when we read that, actually, the Gopi Gita. These are so beautiful prayers. One of the prayers or one of the verses is here. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavi vididitam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam shrimadatam bhuvi grinantiye bhurida jana. And the gopis are telling, O Lord, the nectar of your words, that means your instructions and description of your pastimes, are life-giving. They are the life and soul of those which are suffering in this material world. These narrations, which are transmitted by the learned sages, they eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon anyone who hears them. You see, these narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power, and those who are spreading this message, such people are Bhurida Jana. They are the topmost of all the living entities. They are the topmost of all the living entities. So this is just one verse in the prayers of the gopis. Now we can read these prayers of the gopis. They are so nectarine and so purifying, You know. And they're so nectarine and so purifying, actually. So there is not a stigma of sensuality. In fact, this is like the sun; it eradicates and soaks away sensuality from our hearts, like that. Therefore, in the Bhagavatam, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the narrator of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Sukadeva Goswami explains that if you understand the pastimes and the nature and the quality and the devotion of the gopis, our lust is going to get evaporated just by hearing in its true essence, just by hearing and understanding in its true essence the level of Gopi Sharanagati for Krishna. The level of Gopi Sharanagati for Krishna. And now we come to the next point. The next point is that you see, this is Krishna's love. Krishna is ready to reciprocate to anyone, and one can relate. The Shastras explain that one can relate with Krishna in 5 primary rasas. There is the Shantaras. Shantaras means that one is just obsessed by beholding the glories of the Lord, and one is Shantarasa. He's just glorifying the Lord. He's obsessed with the glory, absorbed by the glories of the Lord, stunned by the glories of the Lord. That is Shantarasa. The next rasa or relationship with the Lord is Dasirasa, in which one just wants to serve the Lord. So the cows of Vrindavan, the trees, they are all in Shantarasa with the Lord. Dasiras, just like Hanumanji, is just wanting to serve Krishna day and night. Dasiras. Then the next relationship with the Lord is Sakhya, that is friendship. Just like Shridhama, Madhumangal. That is Sakhiras, to become a friend of Krishna. The next relationship with the Lord, the primary relationship with the Lord, is Vatsalyaras. That means that one would like to have Krishna as their son. So one wants to have a Vatsalyata, reciprocation with the Lord, just like Nanda Baba, Mother Yashoda. Devaki, Vasudeva, the Vatsalyaras. And then the 5th primary rasa is Madhurya Rasa, in which one wants to have Krishna as their lover. So if you will see, in this order only, each of them is a superset of the previous one. So the Shantaras and the Dasiras are like the foundation. So Dasiras includes Shantarasa and more. And Sakyaras includes Shantarasa, Dasirasa and more intimate reciprocation. And Vatsalyata includes the previous and more, and Madhurya includes all of them and more. So that's how we can see that this is this, and the Lord loves each of the devotees in whatever rasa they want to be. Then Lord reciprocates to them fully, actually. So the Lord not just loves the gopis, the Lord just doesn't expand for the sake of gopis to dance with each of them exclusively. The Lord does that for the gopas also. And Bhagavatam explains That the Gopas are seeing Krishna on the top of Govardhan, and then the Gopas are asking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Then one of them sees Krishna, that Krishna is at the top of the hill. And then the Gopas started saying, oh, let us reach Krishna. I will reach Krishna first. Let us run. And one Gopa is telling, I will reach Krishna first. And the Gopa is telling, I will reach Krishna first. And third says, I will reach Krishna first. All of them are running towards Krishna. And each Gopa is telling, I will reach Krishna first. But each Gopa is thinking, I will say like this so that all others get inspired to run faster than me. And they should reach Krishna first. And I can see that beautiful reciprocation of love. Every Gopa is feeling like that when he says, I will reach Krishna first. He's just wanting to encourage others to reach Krishna first, and he wants to enjoy and see that reciprocation of the Lord's union with their wonderful devotees. And when the Lord sees the heart of all these Gopas, the Lord expands in the form of as many Gopas, as many Krishnas, and every Gopa reaches and touches Krishna first. The Lord reciprocates. And expands for the sake of Gopas also. The Lord has that similar loving feelings for cows also. When Krishna is counting the cows back, one cow is missing, and that cow has hid herself behind a bush somewhere to see what Krishna will do. And Krishna understands that this cow is gone, and Krishna leaves all the 8,99,999 cows, and he goes into the forest to search this one cow and embraces her and brings her. So Krishna's love is complete and perfect for everyone. Whoever wants to serve Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And in any rasa, one wants to serve Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. That is the point. And therefore, in the pastime of Dwaraka, when this demon, what is this demon's name? So he had captured the 16,00,000 princes, and Krishna came and killed Boma. All the princesses, she said, yes. And then Krishna agreed, he married all of them. So Krishna married all of them. And not only he married all of them, for each one of them he created a separate palace and a separate incarnation for all of them. It is explained that when Krishna would go to the court of Dwarka, all the 16,000 Krishnas would merge, and one will go. And when he would come back, he will expand in 16,000 forms and enter each palace. This is explained by the Acharyas. This is explained in the Shastras. This is Krishna. Krishna's love for everyone is perfect and complete in whatever way they want to reciprocate. And therefore, we are coming to this. We are coming to this. And therefore, we come to this point. Now, let's try to understand Krishna's. To just give you a complete end-to-end understanding or picturization of Krishna's love for every living entity. Krishna's relationship with Shishupal, Dantavakra, Jadasandha, and so on. So the point is this: if you love someone, you would like to spend time with that person. The simple matrix, is it not? You see, a boy loves a girl, he revolves around the girl. His life revolves around the girl, is it not? The husband loves the wife, he will remain with the wife throughout, like that. So let's apply this matrix in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna stayed in Vrindavan only for 10.5 years. That was his love for the gopis. The remaining 100 years, whom Krishna was living with, for whose sake Krishna left Vrindavan? That's an important question to ponder over. We should ponder about this fact. For whose sake Krishna had left Vrindavan? Such superlative love of the gopis Krishna left. For whose sake? And Krishna was involved in the affairs of Jadasan, Shishupal, Dantavakra, and so on. Now, let us ask the question. Now the question comes to that Krishna was there with the gopis 10.5 years. Krishna was there with such personalities like Dantavakra and Jarasan for 100 years. Whom does he love more? That is the point to note. Whom does he love more? For their sake, he did not go back to Vrindavan. to purify them, to purify the affairs of the world. Krishna did not go to Vrindavan. And therefore, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this description, there is this glorification which very well applies to Lord Krishna Chandra as well. Tvaktva suduschaja surepsita raja lakshmi dharmishta ari vachasa yadaga aranyam mayamrigam daitepsitam anvadhavat vande mahapurushate charanaravindam. This word, but we will only see the meaning which applies to Lord Krishna Chandra. Tvaktva suduschaja surepsita raja lakshmi. The Lord left Vrindavan, the sweetest of the abode of all love. And the Lord left that abode for whose sake? For the sake of fallen living entities, for the sake of materialistic demoniac living entities, to purify them, for the sake of the entire population. Dharmishta adi vachasa. So, to establish the principles of dharma, the Lord left Vrindavan and he came to Dwaraka, came to Mathura and Dwaraka, and the Lord was running among whom? Mayamrigam daitepsitam anvadhavat. The Lord was running behind these animalistic demoniac rulers, actually to stop them. In that way, to purify them by the Lord's touch. And in that way, to establish dharma and clean the platform and establish the entire civilization whose love was no comparison in front of the gopis' love. So for their sake, the Lord had left Vrindavan. Vande Mahapurushate Charanaravindam. That is why Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam described the Lord. The Lord is known as Bhaktavatsal, all of us might have heard. But Prahlad Maharaj described the Lord. He says, "O Lord, you are not only Bhaktavatsal, you are Kripana Vatsala also." That for the sake of miserly animalistic people, you are ready to sacrifice, and you are running behind those who are running away from you, and people are running towards hell, and you are running behind them. That is the nature of the Supreme Lord, and this very nature gets manifest in the next incarnation, and the Lord comes as Chaitanya Dev. And Lord Chaitanya Dev is running behind materialistic demoniac people and offering them prema. That is the nature of the Supreme Lord. That is the nature of the Supreme Lord. This is the nature and fabric of the Lord's love. This is the nature and the fabric of the Lord's love for the living entities, and this is the nature and fabric of what is called as the Parakashta of love, the supreme most pure aspect of love, which actually which takes the form of Rasa Leela, the Lord's loving reciprocation with his topmost devotees. The Lord and his topmost devotees, this is the nature of their love, and this is the nature of their love for all of us. We will stop here. Thank you.